Hi guys, welcome back to Algebra 1. Today's lesson is over the basics of exponents. What is an exponent? Well, we have an example of an exponent here. It's 2 to the 4th power. The power is the number up top. The bottom number is called the base. As you can see, the power is in orange and the base is in blue. Now, even though we don't have it shown here, the base or the power can be a variable. The exponent of a number shows you how many times the base is to be multiplied by itself. In this case, the exponent is 4. The base is 2. It tells us to multiply 2 by itself 4 times. As you can see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. If we go ahead and we multiply that, 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, we get 16. But here's how we do it in the calculator. We start with our base, 2. We raise it to the 4th power by doing the little up arrow, and our power, 4. Press enter and we get 16. Now that is a positive power. What happens if we have a negative power? Well, just like with order of operations, there are rules that govern exponents with negative powers. And the general rule of thumb is that in math, our power has to always be positive. We don't like negative powers. Here's how we deal with a negative exponent. For example, we have the exponent 2 to the negative 4th power. In this case, the power is negative. Well, if the power is negative, then we have to flip the base to the other side of a fraction. But you're probably saying, this isn't a fraction. I can't flip anything, so what do I do? Well, here's what we have to do. This thing is a fraction. We just don't usually write it like that because it's easier to write it like this. If we divide something that's not a fraction by 1, we turn it into a fraction, but it doesn't change. Because if you divide by 1, the thing stays the same. So we've got our fraction now. We've got to flip it. So the 1 goes to the top, and the 2 to the negative 4th goes to the bottom, and the power becomes positive. So if we write that out, we have 1 over 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Well, we know from before that that is 16 on the bottom. So we basically have 1 over 16. Let's see how to do that in the calculator. So we have 2 up a negative 4th. Enter. We get a decimal. Let's change it into a fraction. Math, enter, enter. We get 1 over 16. So here, just like on the calculator, we would get 1 over 16. So another way of writing it is to take the exponent, flip the fraction, and get 1 over 2 to the positive 4th power. So that's all we have to do. Just flip it. If it's on the top, it goes to the bottom. If it's on the bottom, it goes to the top. And we only worry about flipping exponents that are negative powers. What happens if I want to make my power bigger? How do I do that? Well, let's start with an example. We have 5 to the 4th power and 5 to the 5th power. Now I want to go from 5 to the 4th to 5 to the 5th. Let's see what each one of those is. Let's calculate them. 5 to the 4th is 625. 5 to the 5th is 3,125. So we're going from small to big. That means one of two things. We either have to add or we have to multiply. So let's take the ratio. We're going to put our final value on top, that's in orange, and our initial value on the bottom, that's in blue. When we divide, we find that 5 to the 5th is 5 times bigger than 625. What that tells us is to go from 5 to the 4th to 5 to the 5th, we have to multiply by 5. The rule for that becomes, for every power that we increase, we have to multiply by the value of the base that many times. So if we're going up by 1, we multiply by the base once. If we're going up by 2 powers, then we have to multiply by the base twice, and so on. But what if I want to make the power smaller? So let's do an example again. Let's calculate these two exponents. We have 1024 and 256 respectively. We're going to do the same thing we did before. We're going to find the ratio. So we go from 256 over 1024, that's our final value in orange, divided by our initial value in blue. When we do that, we get 1/4. So 1/4 is a fraction, and fractions essentially tell us division. So what that tells us is, in order to go from 4 to the 5th to 4 to the 4th, we have to divide by 4. And the rule for this becomes, for every power that we decrease, we divide the initial value by the base. So we went from 4 to the 5th to 4 to the 4th. We went down by 1, so we have to divide by 4 once. If we went from 4 to the 5th to 4 to the 3rd, we would be going down 2 powers. We would have to divide by 4 twice. So that concludes our lesson on the basics of exponents. Please make sure you finish the post-lesson summary and quiz and come to class ready with your notes and any foldables I've asked you to do for the next day. See you guys in class. Bye.